What's going on, Detroit Lions fans? Welcome back. Steve here, Detroit Den 313. Thank you for tuning in. Much appreciated. Before we get into it, please hit that subscribe button. It's greatly appreciated. What we're gonna do, we're gonna have a real honest conversation today. We're gonna have to all sit down, egos aside, whether you've been right, whether you've been wrong. Let's put it aside and have a conversation about Hendon Hooker. I don't like talking Hendon Hooker every single episode, but we can't deny the fact that he's been the most exciting player for the Detroit Lions for at least the last 3 weeks. We can't deny that. So we're going to have a conversation about him. We're going to have a conversation about the future. We're going to have a conversation about the now, anything in between. We're going to talk some Hendon Hooker, okay? I will go on the record and say that in the past on this channel, I have said that I wanted to see Hendon Hooker's game translate from what he did at Tennessee to a NFL field. That has been my opinion of Hendon Hooker for the past year. We haven't got to see him. We didn't get to see him last year. He was hurt, banged up. All he got was some mental reps. And I said, going into training camp, one of the most important pieces, whether or not, and I was saying this before we signed Jared Goff in his contract extension, I said, I hope we get a look at Hendon Hooker before Jared Goff's contract happens. That's not the way it panned out. Jared Goff is the quarterback of the future. I'm not here to dispute that. I'm not here to argue that. I'm not here to knock JG. That's my guy. But we're going to have a talk about Hendon Hooker. My opinion was I need to see him on an NFL football field, regardless of what the scenario is. Preseason, an injury, a boo-boo. I need to see Hendon Hooker play before I can change my opinion. Hendon Hooker can play in the NFL. He can. There's no doubt in my mind. Training camp, preseason, he was the most important piece that we all needed to get our eyes on. And I think the most important people who needed to get their eyes on him in game situation was Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell. They got to look. They know what they have now a little bit. Now, what we have to do with this preseason games, we saw Hendon Hooker for, what do we see him for? About close to 6 quarters. He played 3 quarters the other day. He played a whole half against Kansas City, and he played technically 2 drives against the Giants. So let's round it and call it six quarters. It was against backups. It was against third stringers. It was with backups and with third stringers. What we cannot deny, and if you can look me in the eyes and tell me that I'm not right about this next part, I'll shake your hand. You cannot look at me and tell me that Hendon Hooker was not the best player on the football field once the other team starters went out. Once he was going against KC's backups, the Steelers' backups, you cannot sit here and tell me that he was not the most exciting and the best player on the football field. Now, was everything rainbows and butterflies? No, there was a couple situations. I went back to watch the film where maybe he held the ball for a second too long. Or maybe a receiver stopped running a route a second before he should have. You know what's not going to happen if he's playing with the first string? He's going to have more time. He's going to have that extra second. Those receivers know to continue running their routes. They have that game experience. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams, Sam Laporta. If something were to happen, here's a question for you guys. I want you guys to answer this in the comments. Again, be honest with yourselves. Be honest with me. If something happened to Jared Goff and he had to miss 4 games, I don't know why I picked 4. 4 is just about 25% of the season. That's why I picked 4, roughly 25%. I think it's like 18, whatever. Don't knock me on the math. Okay. If Jared Goff had to miss four games, maybe he rolls an ankle, he hurts his thumb. I don't want any of that to happen. I'm not wishing for an injury, but if it does, can Hendon Hooker come in and win you 4 football games with the starting offense, with the best offensive line in football, one of the best receivers in football, one of the best tight ends, a 2-headed monster at running back, and a speed burner in Jameson Williams and Hendon Hooker's cannon of an arm? Can Hendon Hooker win 4 games at any point on that schedule? You can pick the 4 games. I don't care. I think he can. I think he can win 3 out of 4, and that's really all we need him to do. That's what a backup quarterback's job is. If the situation is worse, my confidence is higher now today than it was August 26th of 2023. A year ago today, my opinion would have been the season's over. We're screwed. We're doomed. I don't have that. I've seen enough of Hendon Hooker. It's not a lot. Grading with a curve against who he's gone against in the competition. If something were to happen and JG goes down, I have utmost confidence that the season will continue. I'm telling you right now, I'll put my hand on the Bible. I'm not blowing smoke up your guys' ass. This is truly, truly my opinion. The thing about opinions is they can change. They can change based on what you see, based on new information, based on new whatever you want to call it. Your opinion can change if the information changes. That's what I'm doing here today. I'm not saying I was wrong. I'm saying I've seen what I've needed to see. Hendon Hooker's talents have shown me that he can play football in the NFL. Now, if we're in that situation where Goff gets hurt and Hendon Hooker is the starting quarterback, this offense transforms into an absolute nightmare for defenses to defend because of Hendon Hooker's athletic ability. What I really loved seeing the first preseason game against the New York Giants was Hendon Hooker using his mobility in a designed way. Ben Johnson getting him out of the pocket, doing some rollouts, some boots, moving the pocket to where Hendon Hooker was throwing in different areas of the football field. And that's organized, if that's making sense for you guys. We haven't seen that with a Detroit Lions quarterback in a long time. Stafford's not mobile. It wasn't mobile. Jared Goff's not mobile. Guys, I really threw out the name Jeff Garcia one time, early 2000s. Is that like the last time we saw a quarterback who could run a little bit? Maybe little Mike McMahon. We're not talking Dan Orlovsky running out of the back of the end zone. We're talking quarterbacks who are running and being productive. I can't think of a Detroit Lions quarterback in recent memory that has. Hendon Hooker, if he had to become a starter for a short period of time, how does the NFL defense prepare for that? How? You have to account for our running backs, St. Brown, Laporta, J-Mo, Khalif Raymond, Isaiah Williams, whoever else I haven't mentioned. We're loaded on offense. You throw in that extra wrinkle of having to account for a guy like Hendon Hooker who can run. If plays break down, if he can extend plays, do a check down, hit J-Mo on a bomb, the possibilities are endless, guys. And I'm not trying to run Jared Goff out of town. He's my guy. I'm just thinking, we had a conversation on this channel. I think it was around the time Jared Goff signed his contract. What would Hendon Hooker's future be? We're kind of readdressing that. To think of what could be 3 or 4 years from now if we move on for Jared Goff is exciting. It's fun. And I know our roster shakeup and the roster and all the names we're going to have are going to be completely different, possibly. But we're still going to have that core. We're still going to have that core of Penei Sewell, St. Brown, Laporta, Gibbs, and there's going to be some new faces. You throw in a Hendon Hooker with that good young core that's still clicking, still firing. Guys, this team's going to be scary. Brad Holmes has taken these project players and they're panning out. And trust me, I'm a guy who had questions about project players. I fully 100% admit that I had questions about Hendon Hooker and why we're drafting him in the 3rd round when we're a team who's trying to build project. I don't like that title. We need guys who can be on the team. Now, I said all that. I did. I can see the path now. I can see the path with these project players like Hendon Hooker, Broderick Martin, Giovanni Manu. I can see 3 to 5 years from now what this team can look like. Dynamic, explosive, hard to stop, powerful. Like, there's a lot of different words I could throw in there that make sense for the Detroit Lions football team in like 2027. We're not there yet. I'm not ready. Jared Goff, still my guy. Can't say that enough because I know some people are going to try to twist my words and tell me that I'm turning on Jared Goff. I'm not. I'm just excited for the future. I'm more relaxed and more calm in an emergency situation if something were to happen. Hendon Hooker can come in and win us some football games. I've seen a lot of people going back and forth saying that Nate Sudfeld is still quarterback too. Be honest with yourself. Ask yourself the same question. 4 games. Does Nate Sudfeld win you 3 out of 4 with the starters? I don't think so. I think Hendon Hooker gives you the best chance to win in a backup role, much better than Nate Sudfeld. And I'm working on another episode later. I got a little something else in mind, making this quarterback room even stronger, even better. Competition, growth. There's a lot of things I'm looking at. Some other players that just kind of strengthening this team in an emergency situation. There's a hint for my next episode, guys. I don't normally leave hints. So leave it in the comments and answer that question for me. 3 to 4 games. Can Hendon Hooker come in and hold the water? Can he stop the ship from sinking? Leave it in the comments. Stick around. Hit that like button, guys. I'll be back later with another show.